I read a book in, I think it was around January this year, is called Banker to the Poor by Muhammad Yunus. And it was just a fascinating story of this individual in Bangladesh who 20 some odd years ago pioneered and started the microcredit industry when there was no such thing. And reading the story of how it wasn't any grand idea that he had. All it started is he was a professor in the university in Bangladesh in a certain area, and this village outside of that town, he would go and see the old, real poverty. We think we know poverty in this world, but hearing these stories, what they're in, that is what real poverty is. And these people that are trying to make a living and try and just get by every day. And he's in this university teaching economics, and he's seeing what's happening there. He's like, what I'm teaching is broken. It doesn't work. I'm seeing it here. And he wanted to make a difference. And what he did is he pulled $26 out of his pocket, gave $1 to 26 people to help them, because every day they would buy supplies from a vendor to make some baskets or whatever it was they're doing to sell, to make an extra penny or two a day to just barely get by. And they had no access to credit, so they're having to pay outrageous sums to these people that were basically financing into it. If they just had access to a few dollars, they were able to get out of that cycle. So he lent them some money out of his pocket and help those people get out of that cycle and start making enough money that they can start improving their lives. They started having a roof over their head. They could provide for their kids, have some clothes, and just these basic necessities we take for granted. And then he saw what the difference he made. He just had the passion to keep going. And over the past 20 years, he's lent billions of dollars, $1 at a time or small increments at a time, and helped millions of people move from that situation to have a life, to enjoy life that we all take for granted. And I was very moved and touched by it. It made me think, man, what am I doing? So I started thinking, how could I give back in my life? I've been blessed with a great life, a great business, a great financial rewards, and just to be blessed to be born in America, where entrepreneur is such encouraged and easy to achieve. But I couldn't come up with the idea that seemed right. I was thinking about it, and nothing really came to me. And then a couple months later, just by sheer luck, I ended up watching Oprah's new reality show on TV called The Big Give. And I watched that first episode, and it took me back as seeing how these people could make such a difference with no desire to get anything out of it. And it moved me even more that, man, I really need to do something in my life. I'm meant to give back somehow, and I kept pondering. I'd be walking down to the gym or whatever and thinking, what can I do? And nothing came to me. All the ideas that came, that just doesn't seem right. But it's always in the back of my head. And then, I think it was about a month or so ago, I was at Yannick's underground seminar, and one of the contestants on The Big Give, Cameron Johnson, was a speaker at that event. And Yannick, because to tie into that whole idea of he was on The Big Give, he held a contest at the event where he said, you have up to $100 to see how big of a difference you can make over the next 24 hours. Record that on a video, and then we're going to pick the best people that submit a video, the top 3, and find the winner. And that winner is going to win a $10,000 package. I'm like, oh, wow, that's a pretty cool idea. And I was thinking about it. The next thing I know, we went out to dinner with some friends I haven't seen for a long time, and it's the next day, and now it comes to the time they're showing the videos. I'm like, man, I didn't do anything. But I was sitting there thinking, so what would I do if I did do that? And I asked myself that question and put that into my head. I started thinking about it as I was watching these things, and the idea came to me is there's a training that I've been developing for a little while now to help people that, like our Blueprint course helps people that really want to go out and build a business. But there's another level of getting people just to the point where they're making just a couple extra $100 a month. And I've helped people in the past do that using some very simple techniques and some very simple things that anybody could do. And I was going to develop that training, I was like, well, I could go out to the street and show anybody how to do this. I could take them to the library, and I could pay for their hosting and their things and get it set up for them right then and there, show them what they need to do, and help them start to make some extra money right away. So anybody off the street. So that was the idea I came up with. And then it occurred to me, there's another thing going on in my life where my sister now has 4 kids. She's a single mother with 4 kids, one that's 16, one that's 14 that's autistic, and 2 twins that are 3 years old. And through a series of events, she ended up becoming single last year. And I'm not going to go into the details of that, but she was in a financial situation. So I've been helping her out financially so she can just provide for her life and her kids and her family. Over all the years, I see what she has, as a single mother, how amazing of a job she's done being a parent for her kids. And I have such admiration for her, but here she's in this situation where she's struggling financially, and I'm successful, and I'm helping her out. But the entire time, I felt like I was feeding her fish when my mental makeup tells me that is not going to serve her long-term interests. I need to teach her how to fish, not give her the fish. And that was always in the back of my mind, subconsciously. It wasn't came out until that very moment when I realized this training I could show her how to do this. She could do this from her home, and she could start making extra $100 to $500 a month by doing some of these simple things I know would work for her. And I knew just that little extra money would make a dramatic difference in her life. I knew just a few $100s, which we might take for granted, and somebody in that situation, a single mother who's trying to support her kids, a few $100s could mean the difference between having a Christmas presents or not having Christmas presents, getting new school clothes or not getting school clothes. And then I also saw that my niece, who's 16 years old, she was also trying to figure out how to she wants to start to earn an income so she can have a car and start to go to college and things like that. Like, I could show this to my niece and she could do it as well. And I wrote that idea down in my notebook, and then the training went on, and I didn't think any more of it. Then that night, Sunday, when this happened, I went up to my room to go at the end of the night, and I was reviewing my notes just like I tell you to review your notes within 24 hours and 7 days. It'll last you for a lifetime. And that's what I did. I got up, I started reviewing my notes from the entire event, and I came across that one bullet point, that one sentence that I wrote. I'm like, I think there's something here. So I started writing down some thoughts and ideas, and next thing I know, my entrepreneurial mind kicks in and starts thinking of what, there's a big idea here that I need to figure it out what it is. But next thing I know, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I had all these ideas, and I realized that's what I was supposed to do. That was my big give idea, is to go out, take this training that I was developing, and instead of charging or anything for it, set up a site where we give it to single mothers and give them the resources. We'd partner with a hosting company where they're providing the hosting, so they don't even have to have any money out of their pocket. And when I did the research, there's 23 million single mothers in the U.S. alone. 20-some-odd% of them are in poverty. 30-some-odd% of them are on some sort of financial assistance. There's a huge need that these people have to make a few extra $100 in their life that would just change their life, because I know, I've seen it firsthand. So I left with that commitment. I shared it with a couple people on our team, and we have some single mothers on our staff, so they are passionately on board, and that's what we're doing. And I'm asking anybody, there's no financial reward for this. We're not doing it to make any money. We're doing it to help some people. So I'm putting it out there. I don't have any intentions, but maybe there's some connections that you have that we should look into, or that you could hook us up into, or maybe you'd like to share it with some people, or maybe there's a way that you could help us give back to some people. So